in the morning. I can't sleep. My jaw's busted. They wired it up a couple hours ago and it hurts every time I move my mouth. I lost tonight. I gave everything and I still lost. Feels like I let everyone down. I'm not unbreakable.
But it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, like Alzheimer's disease. And Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night. And so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience. And so, you know, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain.
Jake
Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side. So both sides. And not only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out, and titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take long to fully heal.
Drinking every night and doing all this and beat you.
Yeah, it was bad.
If you look at the fight, he was much slower. He only threw a hook. Like,
hours pass and Jake drops those x-ray images on social media. 2 clean breaks straight through his jaw. Titanium plates scheduled for surgery. Multiple teeth just gone. But here's the insane part. He's still trying to call out Canelo from his hospital bed. That single post completely broke the internet, and the boxing community's reaction was absolutely savage. The internet exploded, but not in Jake's favor. Fans were roasting him mercilessly. Professional fighters were shaking their heads in disbelief, and boxing insiders started admitting what they knew all along. Anthony Joshua hits different than anyone Jake's ever faced, and he just walked face first into legitimate heavyweight power. Medical experts are now saying this type of damage fundamentally changes everything moving forward.
he was going to like tie him down and catch him with a good shot and shit like that.
So wait, do you think, curious, because it's a business aspect, but again, I'm still a nigga, and
what the public saw on Instagram was nothing compared to what was really happening behind closed doors. Surgeons worked all night in emergency procedures. They were dealing with fractures typically seen in major car accidents, not boxing matches. These medical details are absolutely brutal, and they paint a picture of just how devastating that final sequence really was.
A couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down.
Surgery lasted 4 full hours. Titanium plates had to be surgically attached to hold everything together. Doctors later admitted that Joshua's final right hand created simultaneous fractures on both sides of Jake's jaw. The kind of force that makes every pre-fight warning look prophetic. But this is where everything gets really controversial.
To Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Gervonta joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
While some people were sending thoughts and prayers, Gervonta Davis was having the time of his life. Tank's reaction has the entire sport completely divided right now. His response to seeing Jake in the hospital has created a firestorm that's still burning today.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there.
And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be.
People close to Davis say those hospital photos didn't create any sympathy whatsoever. He was entertained by them, replaying the knockout footage over and over while repeating the same thing. Jake was never meant for real boxing. Before you judge that reaction though, you need to understand the history between these two.
Down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ.
This beef with Tank goes way deeper than the Joshua fight. Months ago, Jake was calling out Davis publicly, questioning his character, mocking his professionalism, and basically lighting a fuse on what was supposed to be a massive Miami showdown. The collapse of that potential fight explains exactly why Tank is reacting this way now.
Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing, unprofessionalism, and you know, he's getting what you know, he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything, doesn't do any promotion.
Legal problems killed the Davis fight before it could happen. Jake's response was to go completely nuclear on social media. He dragged Tank's reputation through the mud, called him unprofessional garbage, and made it personal. That created a debt that Tank has been waiting to see paid ever since.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process?
So when Joshua delivered exactly what everyone predicted would happen, Tank didn't see a tragedy unfolding. He saw complete vindication. The memes started flowing immediately. Private conversations got leaked everywhere, and the boxing world split into camps over whether this was justified payback or just cruel. The argument is still raging because there's legitimate points on both sides.
AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that like initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think by the end that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
One side says Tank crossed every line by mocking someone with a broken jaw and missing teeth. The other side argues Jake spent years building his brand on pure disrespect and finally got what was coming to him. But the recovery timeline makes this debate even more heated.
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, you know, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
Bilateral jaw fractures like Jake's don't heal overnight. Medical experts are talking 6 to 8 months minimum before any contact sport is even possible. Maybe a full year away from real competition. Extensive dental reconstruction, implants, bone grafting procedures, and a long journey back to anything normal. Jake's career just hit a massive crossroads. For the first time ever, Jake himself sounds completely different. He's talking about fighting smaller opponents, admitting heavyweight was a huge mistake, saying he needs to step back and reassess everything. Those words carry more weight than any punch because they signal a complete mental shift.
Yeah, there's a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know.
Anthony Joshua actually showed class after the fight, saying Jake was tougher than expected and absorbed punishment that would have destroyed other heavyweights. Somehow that respect made the loss cut even deeper, because courage doesn't change the fundamental reality of what happened. The boxing world is now wrestling with one massive question. Does this completely end Jake Paul's run at elite-level boxing, or does it create a revenge storyline that pulls him back into even more dangerous territory once he heals? The answer might already be taking shape.
Right, listen, respect to Jake. You know, he was a tough guy in there. Obviously, he moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to Nikisa, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked out clean out by, especially at the end, you know? So, yeah.
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean, maybe, like, obviously, when someone's moving like that.
Tank Davis still holds his championship, still trending on social media, still watching his name stay connected to Jake's downfall, and that canceled fight feels more significant than ever. If Jake does return, that shadow will be waiting for him.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and you know it was difficult to nail him clean. I think, but eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashed him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul because that last shot, I know he broke his, shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out. So I've got to give him credit.
Right now, the memes keep multiplying, the debates keep intensifying, and there's one image nobody can forget. Jake Paul confident and smiling before the opening bell, then lying broken and unconscious afterward. It's a before and after that captures the entire story perfectly.
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him, is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive. And he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in like, you know, out the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
What did AJ tell you inside the ring about the fight?
Wicked fight. Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot. But you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it, but the better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran, or do you like...
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%, like, he's going to want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner and bang, he was out.
This goes beyond just another loss. It was a reality check sent to every influencer who believes confidence can override consequences, and while Jake recovers in private and Tank celebrates in public, boxing did what boxing always does. It reminded everyone that reality has a way of hitting back harder than you expect.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that...
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him, is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet.
Graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron, is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And
this wasn't